Christian Academy of Guatemala. Michaela has also changed to online classes from Liberty University and is currently staying with Mindy's mother in South Carolina. Our churches have had to quickly change formats to online services only. We are doing music and preaching online both Wednesdays and Sundays. We're also trying to encourage our church members with phone calls, messages, and by sending devotionals that they can do at home. The feeding centers are not able to serve meals like normal, so we have purchased basic food staples for our feeding center families. 136 of these bags were prepared and passed out to needy families in the past few weeks. Many of these feeding center parents live day to day and are not able to work right now because of the quarantine restrictions. We are thankful for those of you who give so that we can provide food for these families in need. Thank you again for your faithful support and prayers. Save to serve Jerry and Mindy Kindon, our missionaries to Guatemala.
Amen.
Amen.
Take your hymnal and turn to number 256. Number 256, When I See the Blood. Just stand with me, please. Christ, our Redeemer, died on the cross. Died for the sinner, paid what was due. Sprinkle your soul with the blood of the Lamb, and night will pass over you. When I see the blood, when I see the blood, when I see the blood, I will pass over you. Chiefest of sinners, Jesus will save. All He has promised that He will do. Washing the fountain, open for sin, and I will pass over you. When I see the blood, when I see the blood, when I see the blood, I will pass over you. Oh, great compassion, oh, boundless love, oh, loving kindness, faithful and true, shine peace and shelter upon the blood, and I will pass over you. When I see the blood, when I see the blood, when I see the blood, I will pass over you. Go ahead and flip over a couple pages to number 262. If you've noticed, there's a bit of a theme to our songs this evening, and that's the blood of Christ. There is power in the blood. 262, there is power in the blood. Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Lord, Lord, we love victory in. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power.
and I, we tried to look for a song that you might not have heard for a while. So, we'll be standing on the solid rock.
Through my disappointment, strife and discontentment, I cast my every care on the Lord. No matter what obsession, pain or deep depression, I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. The storms that rages, reach the mountain bridge, not Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Even though he's gone now, I don't feel alone now. Comfort came from Spirit of the Lord. There was this word to guide me from temptation hide me. I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. The storm that rages, reaching out my reach, I'm from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Now I'm pressing onward, step that leads me homeward. I'm trusting in my Savior day by day. And close is our relation, firm is his foundation. So firm the solid rock I'll stay. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All storm rages, reaching out my region, not from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All storm that rages, reaching out my reach, not for Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock.
Don't you see what's going on in the world? Don't you realize that I need you? Where are you? I remember as a little kid we would play hide and seek, and I really loved playing hide and seek. We would go down my grandpa's shore, and Grandpa Lyons was a tugboat operator in Inner Harbor of Baltimore, and there were times he bought this shore property that looked over the back river neck, and we'd go down there, and my brothers and my sisters, and for some reason I was always it. I don't know how it happened, but I always got chosen to be the one that had to find everybody. And my brothers and sisters, I don't know if they hid normal or if they cheated or what they did, but I could never find them. And so it got to the point where I would look and look and look, and finally I'd yell, "Ollie, Ollie, and free!" You ever hear that word? Anybody? Is that familiar to anybody? That means everybody's time to come in. Well, they still wouldn't come. And so I'd yell again, "Ollie, Ollie, and free!" and no one would come. And so finally I said, well, I guess they're just not going to, 9 times out of 10, and it happened every time, they were right in the tree above where I was standing. I'd look up there and I feel something drop and hit me on the head, or I'd feel somebody dangling something down, and I fell for it every time. I really did. That's not the case with God, though. When you need God, He's there. When you look for Him, He's there. When you call Him, He's there. Whether we recognize Him or see Him or not. And that's what Psalm 139 is all about. The greatest joy that you can have is to know that the Lord is there. The first half of Psalm 1 through 16, it tells about the character of who God is. And when you look at the character of who He is, you look at verses 1 through 6, and it says, "O Lord, Thou hast searched me and known me." You know what? Even as mothers and fathers, we don't know our kids as well as what God knows. Even as husbands and wives, we might think we may have our wife figured out, or we might think we might have our husband figured out, but they always throw us a curve. There's always something new that comes up, that just like this guy said the other day, they were doing a marriage counseling thing, and they said, every man ought to know what his wife's favorite flower is. And the guy leans over to his wife and he says, honey, yours is Pillsbury, isn't it? And, we laugh and we chuckle at that. But in reality, that's how dense we are sometimes. We don't even know what color our wife's eyes are. Or we don't know, she says, oh yeah, I gotta get some hair color. How long have you been coloring your hair? Well, for 40 years. And we're always surprised by things that we shouldn't be surprised. You know what? We're never surprised at God. And He's never surprised at us. He knows us completely. I think that sometimes God's disappointed in us because of some of our choices, but I don't think He's ever surprised. When you read this, and the psalmist really understands it, he said in verse number 2, he said, thou knowest my sitting downs and my uprising, thou understandest my thought afar off. Boy, that's sometimes, because they're really far off sometimes. I mean, you think of how far we can drift, okay? I watch people in church sometimes, and I wonder where they are. I go back to a time, and I've never liked softball very much. I like watching baseball when it was like a pennant race or at the end of the season, but as far as to stand out there and wait for someone to hit me that ball and not hit me with that ball, I'd stand there, and I remember one time, this is when I first went to Fort Lauderdale. After I graduated high school, I went to Fort Lauderdale when I was 18. And I was playing softball, we're in the middle of this field, and all of a sudden this ball comes, and it comes right to the guy beside me, and he's standing there like this, and he's got his glove out, and he's waiting for the ball, and it just rolled right through his legs. And I said, man, what happened? He said, I was in the Bahamas scuba diving, dude. I said, you were where? Yeah, he was afar off. Guess what? God knows when we're afar off. He really does. He knows where we are. It's normal to not think about or not to concentrate on the exact same thing all the time. It's normal to multitask. We're a multitask generation, whether you like that or not. Some of you in here can do 20 things at one time very well. I mean, you really can. You can be cooking, you can be on the phone, you can be on Facebook, you can be doing business, you can be doing homework, you can be fixing your hair, doing your makeup. I've seen people do that driving. I have. I've seen people going up the road, steering with their knee, drinking their coffee cup, and putting their eyeliner on. Okay? And he wasn't even very pretty. I say that kiddingly, but God knows it. Look at verse number 3. This is how much He knows us. When you first look at this, it's a lot of comfort in knowing that He knows us, but it's also a lot of concern in knowing that He knows us. Verse number 3 says, thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou hast knowest it altogether. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and hast laid thy hand upon me. So really what this talks about, it brings us to this spot to where we understand, if you really think about this, He's omniscient. What does that mean? It means that God knows everything. He's omnipotent. It means that He's all-powerful. He's omnipresent. It means that He's everywhere. And so when you look at this whole concept of God, we got all-knowing, all-seeing, all-understanding, all-comprehending, and all-knowing about me, God. But not only does He know not only does He know all about me, but He knows all about you. And He knows all about what's going on in you. And so you know what? He knows how to fix you if you're broken. He knows how to help you if there's something going on. He knows how to adjust you because He knows you better than you know yourself. He knows what you like and what you dislike, and He knows what you're going to like tomorrow and what you're not going to like tomorrow. And because of all that, you have to understand He is so concerned with us. And so once you understand that God fully knows us and that He knows us completely, how can He still love us? Think about it. Man, we've got some crazy thoughts that come in our minds sometimes, don't we? We've done some totally against God things in our life, haven't we? And you think about it, how can that God that knows all that still love us? You know why? Because His love is unending. His love is never failing. His love is totally compassionate. Because, the songs we sang tonight, there's power in the blood. That's what it is. He's all about love. When He came, it was about love. If you look at verse number 7, you see a second truth that's in this passage. And the second truth that's in this passage is that He's always with us. It says, "Whither shall I go from Thy Spirit? Whither shall I flee from Thy presence?" And then He asked the question, for the child of God, and for the question that we ask sometimes, where is He? He says in verse number 8, He says, "If I ascend up into heaven, Thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, Thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even though there shall Thy hand lead me, and Thy right hand shall hold me." And in verse number 11, He basically says, "And if I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be a light unto me, and yet darkness hideth not me from Thee, but the light shineth as the day, and darkness is the light, and both alike to Thee." We can't, even though He knows us fully, He's always there. When we don't think He's there, He's there. He's so close that we can call